Well, I can't say I saw that coming. Jon Stewart is returning to The Daily Show. This is a big day for Gen Xers and millennials, as Jon Stewart had quite an impact on a lot of us, me being one of them, growing up, watching The Daily Show, watching, Colbert that followed it. This, in many ways, set the standard, set the narrative for a lot of what was going on in politics and also especially in media. So before I get to more commentary on that and whether or not this show and Jon Stewart still can have that kind of impact with the landscape of media and how it's changed, let me just get to the details, the announcement here. So NBC News, Jon Stewart returns to The Daily Show. Now, here is the announcement from The Daily Show Comedy Central account with Jon Stewart right there, your moment of zen, looking like he's rested and ready, tanned and rested, ready to take on the show once again. Now, details here. So he's going to serve as the Monday night host. He is an elderly man now, so he can't work every day. But he's going to serve as the Monday night host, and that's throughout the 2024 election cycle. And he's expected to play an oversight role at the show that could extend through 2025. And it's all going to start on February 12th. I will be watching. And various correspondents will host through Tuesday through Thursdays. So he's not going to be, the everyday host. But this, typically Mondays, at least from what I'm reading, have been the strongest days for this program. So it's going to be, for obvious reasons, because of Stewart now, it's going to definitely be the most watched show of the week. But I am curious if this show is going to have the same kind of impact that it once did. So a little more here before I get to that. So this quote from the studio: Jon Stewart is the voice of our generation, and we are honored to have him return to Comedy Central's The Daily Show to help us all make sense of the insanity and division roiling the country as we enter the election cycle. That's from Chris McCarthy, President and CEO of Showtime MTV Entertainment Studios. Quote, in our age of staggering hypocrisy and performative politics, Jon is the perfect person to puncture the empty rhetoric and provide much-needed clarity with his brilliant wit. Corporate speak as it is, I do agree. I think Jon Stewart still has that ability. I think the fact that since leaving television, he's really been engaged in politics in the literal sense, in being in Washington, D.C., fighting for veterans, getting things actually passed and done, which is a rarity when it comes to anything getting done in terms of actually helping people. Jon Stewart has helped to lead the effort in at least in one specific area. But will he be able to capture the kind of influence that he once had? Because things have changed quite a bit. People get their media from all over the place. I got to say, I don't think, this is my assumption, maybe someone in the comments will correct me, I really don't think Gen Z cares, maybe doesn't even know who Jon Stewart is. So there's definitely going to be a generational divide there. But Jon Stewart, when he was at his highest, and really over the course of most of his 16 years as host of The Daily Show, he had the power to really change the narrative in not just in politics, but on media. I mean, the level of the level of criticism he would level at Fox News, I think really turned off the potential that Fox News may have had at some point on a younger generation, completely turned that generation off the idea of even turning Fox News on, just because of the level of absurdity that he would highlight from whether it was, Bill O'Reilly or Fox and Friends, the clips that he would show and the commentary he would deliver and the reactions and just, laughing at the entire thing. That really helped to put Fox News into this light of, look at this clown show. You can't take these people seriously. And I think that has had a lasting impact. I am not so certain he's going to have that ability again. So before I get to a bit more on that, just Jon Stewart here posting on Twitter. I guess this is apparently a collegiate sports reference that I don't get, but he wrote here, friends, after much reflection, I've decided to enter the transfer portal for my last year of eligibility. Excited for the future. 5'7"-ish 165, 14.8 second, 40. Okay. Over my head. But this is what they've been, what the media has transferred into, or how it's changed since Stewart left. But since Stewart left, Comedy Central, of course, and then since I'm forgetting his name now. Not that it matters. The guy that took over for Jon Stewart, who I did not, Trevor Noah, who I really did. I'm sure he had an audience. He did have an audience. I could not enjoy the show with Trevor Noah hosting. But since Trevor Noah left in 2022, the show has tested out many different hosts. These are just three: Leslie Jones, Cal Penn, Sarah Silverman. I can't think of examples now, but I know there have been better ones. To be honest, I haven't really watched the show since Jon Stewart left, and since watching the first, several episodes of Trevor Noah. So it's not really. Oh, there's his name. In case I forgot it, right there. It's not really something I've kept up with, but I know I've seen clips online of hosts that have done a fairly good job. But this is where the shift has really happened. So advertising dollars and audiences for the programs have begun to shrink. Viewers have now moved more to a streaming video. But to be clear, I mean, a lot of that streaming video is also streaming of the shows that are online or that are airing on television. So it's not as if people have completely moved off what's on television. It's just that they don't often watch it live when it's on television. They'll watch it afterwards or watch clips of it afterwards. But there's also, YouTube, I think, has taken a more prominent role since Jon Stewart left in 2015, as has social media, TikTok, of course, a lot of political commentary on there as well. So there is more of a segmented market now than there was when TV was the big thing. That said, I have to imagine at the very least clips of his appearances and his commentary are going to make it online, and those will be, assuming the commentary still holds true, those are going to be watched just as they were when he was at his peak. But after capturing about 39.9 million in advertising dollars in 2022, Daily Show's on track to lure just under 19 million. So they're dropping in advertiser dollars. It's still $19 million. It's not like it's completely fallen off. But this is where I am more I'm more open to this kind of criticism. Quote, the market is very fragmented currently, and it's not really possible for any TV host, let alone Jon Stewart, to cut through the noise and to land a blow like they might have seen him land against, say, Tucker Carlson when he went on CNN in the aughts. That's from A.J. Bauer, an assistant professor at the University of Alabama who studies right-wing media. Things have changed. I think this is true. Things have clearly changed. The market is very fragmented. That said, because of the importance that Jon Stewart held as the host of The Daily Show for so many years, that there's an element of nostalgia to it, where I think a lot of people, especially we're talking about millennials, Gen X, older generations as well, who are into Jon Stewart, they're going to tune in again, and they're going to want to see what Jon Stewart has to say. Now, you may say, well, Jon Stewart had a show on Apple TV. Yes, he did. That show also required a subscription. So and a lot of it was also online. And a lot of those clips, by the way, did do well. So I covered at least a couple different moments where Jon Stewart was, conducting an interview on his Apple TV show. And there were some good moments in those interviews, and I've covered them. So he's had great moments like that. The reason why I think this is going to be different and more popular than the Apple TV show is because this is back to his standard formula. This is back to what people remember Jon Stewart for. So unless his commentary is, completely off and he's not as astute as maybe he once was, then maybe there'll be, a rapid drop off. But I tend to think if he still has it, and considering he has been engaged in politics, maybe not in television or maybe not on, Comedy Central, but he has been engaged since leaving The Daily Show, I think he's going to be as consistent, as on point as he was when he was at his height. It's just a matter of, is it going to hit the same way? Is it going to have the same cultural impact because of how fragmented the market is? That I'm not so clear. And also I got a question, what can Jon Stewart offer that isn't already being offered through other political commentary, be it on television elsewhere or especially online? I think the main difference there is just going to be the fact that it's Jon Stewart doing it. So, a point that may have already been made by someone else online on a YouTube show, if Jon Stewart makes it, it's going to hold more weight, it's going to get more attention than that random YouTube show who may have a big audience, but it's not he's not the whoever this random YouTube show I'm mentioning is. I have no one in mind, but there are many political YouTube shows. But whatever that person says online, it's not going to have the same impact as Jon Stewart saying it does. I am open to seeing what this show is going to be under Stewart. I in some ways I kind of feel bad for the other hosts that are going to be hosting Tuesday through Thursday, because we all know the ratings are going to be a lot different between Tuesday and Thursday compared to Monday. But this also, from what I'm reading, people are speculating that this may be a way for Jon Stewart to really play a big part in picking who the next host is going to be, and hopefully somebody who is better at the job than Trevor Noah was. But again, I didn't watch much of Trevor. Maybe Noah was great, but I watched, tried to watch some of the first year, and I just could not. It just didn't hit the same, and you could tell he wasn't as engaged and care as much as Stewart did. So I don't know. I don't want to sit here just criticizing Trevor Noah the whole time, but I do feel like there could be a better replacement. That said, once Jon Stewart's gone, the show's going to go back to obscurity, in my opinion. I'm sure it'll have its audience, but it's never going to be back at the height as when Jon Stewart hosts it. And that isn't just a criticism or a commentary on The Daily Show. It's a commentary on where television media is going. Things are just, especially when it comes to politics, people are just more online. And a lot of this stuff doesn't hit the way that it once did. So we're going to have to see what kind of audience that a television political commentary comedy program can still bring in this day and age. But I think at the very least, I'll be watching. I'm really curious to see how Stewart does when he returns.